I love him.
Okay.
Thank you to HUEL for sponsoring this video. More on them in just a bit.
Citizens of Rejectoros, we are here today to watch episode 3 of Knights of the Seven Kingdoms. This is a fun freaking show. Yo, Michael, who is a champion right now, he threw out, he has a disc out of his back.
I threw a disc.
He threw a disc with CD-ROM, Frisbee golf.
In the original Olympics.
But he's here. He's going to act like he's not in pain.
I'm not in pain.
But I know he is, so I appreciate you being here. We want your brain and soul.
Happy to be here.
And how are you feeling, John?
I'm good. I saw Andrew moments ago, and he was talking about the Game of Thrones area of the show they're in, and it just reminded me how joyous I am to be in a circumstance like this one, where like horrific things are not always happening around each corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's see what happens this episode.
Yeah.
I'm secretly doing this as a means of getting extra carnage for this one. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a long day, but I'm excited to watch this.
Greg, what's your favorite color?
Layback Westeros show. My favorite color?
Yeah.
I would go with pink, blue.
Excellent. Greg's favorite color is blue.
Hey.
Let's watch the show.
Oh. He's going to wake up this morning.
Is this the scene where Egg just slits his throat while he sleeps? Oh. I love him.
Was it waking up and summoning?
He speaks horse. He's a wild thorn.
Easy boy.
That's what he's hiding.
Yeah,
He's hiding Donnie's hair under.
Look at that composition of his head with the horse right above him. That was cool.
Look at the light.
Come on! Run!
That's not how you talk to a horse.
He's stubborn as old iron. He's twice the size of your last rider, and the field could be just like this or worse, so you best get your feet under you.
Yeah.
Kid.
My father told me you should never talk to a horse. He said they're dumber than dogs and only understand the crop.
Whoa, horses are wicked smart.
I think a horse doesn't want to be ordered about any more than a man does.
Yes. Yes.
So Duncan only has us. And if he loses, he won't even have that. I can get the weapon in his hand, but then it's up to you.
You can lead a horse to the tourney, but you can't make it joust.
Bet.
I was like, where's our gross gags?
Yeah. Every episode.
You gotta have
I have to say that was the most pleasant of all of them.
We've seen horses. Yeah.
It's actually a reference to that scene in season 3 of Game of Thrones where Tywin's horse poops before he rides in the Great Hall.
Absolutely. My gosh, she's literally teaching this horse how to joust.
He's teaching himself too.
How are you so learned,
Woo!
boy?
Woo!
Take a quick set.
I really, really love that we get to observe him on his own a little bit.
That's a tough thing to do as an actor, especially one of 8 years old.
Boy, Thunder.
Uh-oh.
The kid's like 23.
You steal that horse.
Look at that patch.
Tell the truth.
Oh, shoot.
We'll be fair.
It's not stealing if you mean to put it back.
A horse and his boy.
What's wrong with your hair?
What's wrong with your eye?
Hey. Oof. Oh.
Okay.
You're Sir Robin Risley.
Yeah, it took me a second. Okay.
You're the maddest knight in the Seven Kingdoms.
You're a vessel for the warrior. You're small for a squire.
I serve Sir Duncan the Tall. He's large enough for the both of us.
That he is.
We've not heard of him.
You will.
I love referring to oneself as we.
Hive mind.
Don't wander off without telling me.
What are you doing, sir?
Sewing a patch.
Is that not my job?
You know how?
Oh.
And quit jawing and get the brushes. Thunder looks like he's been dragged through a hedge.
What about breakfast?
There's salt beef after you're done.
I'd sooner eat the horse, sir.
You'll eat my fist if you don't do as you're told.
It's a knuckle, Sammy.
Yeah, just like that. Keep it as close to the edge as possible.
He's so much better than his master.
How'd you get it so even?
Just practice. Just try again.
There.
Yes!
Oh, he's so happy.
Is it odd that I have black hair growing out of my stones?
It's odd that you're telling me.
You're becoming a man, Egg.
Prince Baelor was the firstborn. Prince Maker sprang out last.
This is Egg's episode.
Black guy's not a trueborn.
Dude, he's in a
He
very
came from the
masculine
wrong
position carving
country.
a phallic object. Just as he's peppered his eggs. Just saying.
Fetch my armor.
Now,
Aye, now.
This is Egg's episode, and I love it.
Because I mean to enter the lists.
you don't have your shield. The right of first challenge goes to Knights of High Birth and Renown. Are you a Knight of High Birth and Renown, sir?
I cannot enter the lists today.
Not today, sir, no. Only Knights of High Birth and Renown.
Then why have I been vomiting all morning?
What's about to happen?
No. Goose eggs. Just the eggs. No.
Are we going to get a comedic head chopping?
Do you like goose eggs?
Your shield will be ready this evening, so.
Thank you.
Impeccable flirting skills.
As long as we don't score goose eggs out on the course.
Shut up.
Oh, I'm becoming his best friend.
You do a good job with the reaction. Can we get some salted beef afterwards, Craig? Actually, not gonna lie, that's really good.
This is like the Game of Thrones version of the Dexter theme.
That was a
These
huge.
guys are from New York. They're having a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Whoa! Dude, they invented the sandwich, the breakfast sandwich.
Oh, well, I got the joy.
This is the story of bacon and eggs. Whoa!
It is the story of bacon and eggs. Well said, yeah.
Oh, cool POV.
Want some hard salt beef? Oh, mate, I can't eat hard salt beef. Just eat.
I think I could be quite happy in a place like this.
You're in a place like this.
I return a war hero, and he gives me a parcel of land for my very own, and the hand of his second most beautiful daughter.
Second most.
Not the first.
Well, you've already married the first most.
Hey.
That's a wingman, guys. That's a wingman.
I'd keep horses,
And lambs, perhaps.
your lambs.
Did you really ride all the way here in the back of some farmer's wagon?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, no wonder he hates those lambs.
I'll say this for you. You're a good worker when you put your mind to it.
Does that mean I can stay in as your squire after the tournament?
Let's hope so.
If I lose my first joust, I'll scarcely be a knight after the tournament.
Let's see that you don't.
But if you win,
If I win, you can...
Duncan! A word, if you please.
Nice cut. Nice cut. Damn, that was cool.
I appreciate that at the same time that he had the chance to become a knight.
Sir Duncan, I believe we are both men of honour. So I hope you understand that what I ask serves no private interest. I just surprise you to learn that my Lord Ashford has richly overspent on his daughter's pageant.
Uh-oh.
With winter not so long past and many of our flocks collapsed, hard times lie ahead unless we endeavour to reverse our fortunes.
Oh, where's this going?
I don't have any money.
Shocking, that may be.
You could get us some.
I mean not to rob you, but to reward you.
Reward me?
Aye. What do you know of Lord Ashford's youngest, Sir Andrew?
Oh.
He's a deaf lance.
Indeed. The lucky few who backed such an unlikely winner would find their pockets full.
Oh my God.
Rest assured, I mean no disrespect. I ask only what you already intend. Drive your foal from his saddle and take your place on Champion's Row.
Only what you intend. Yeah, right.
I do not want a victory that I have not earned.
Have you not earned it?
I you still got to knock him down.
Let Sir Andrew take the fall, and you shall have his horse, arms, and armour as recompense for your role. A tidy sum for a young edge knight who presently calls an elder tree home.
Do not get corrupted.
It's a no.
He's lawful good.
I beg you think on it. I shall seek your answer on the morrow. Perhaps the reins will hold till then. Mind your pride, Sir Duncan.
He's got a way with words, this guy.
That's a moral quandary. And that's a horn.
Especially that other dude's in on it. Like, oof.
If it sounds one more time, the White Walkers are coming.
Prince Arian Bright Flame!
Whoa!
Wowie.
That's a helmet.
Huh?
Nice.
That helmet is bonks.
It really brought it to life.
I appreciate that the armorer called out all the fancy-looking helmets and how they're not exactly practical.
Cousin?
Do your thing, cuz. It's cousin time.
Come out, little knight. It's time you face the dragon.
This guy.
The Targaryens still have such presence.
That horse's headdress, too. Rip his arms and legs off.
Oh! Woo, that's smart.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
It's too long.
Yeesh! Cruel.
He's not letting him yield either.
Fortunately, hit the helmet.
There's no way to win the respect and loyalty of the people. People are a little less concerned about rebelling.
I want to leave.
I'm used to a good amount of violence in this universe, but that was very striking.
It was a terrible sight, but a squire must be strong. A mishap may befall me, and I'll need you to keep your wits if it does.
That was no mishap.
Went for the horse.
The jousting is done for the day, I think. Come, lad.
I love him with his hood up.
Lost and dead, returned and flock, now feeling awfully glum.
I love the Baratheons.
Action fingers, less than
Just that they got a place for free food and drinks to go now.
Do you suppose there was an Alistair?
The crippled girl who shoved her hand up men's arses.
I think there probably was. Do you think her name was really Alice?
I just think Alice is a nice name to write a song to.
That means there was a cripple girl who was so good at pleasuring men in their bums. Perhaps it is a story of honour.
It is a story of honor.
A misfortune girl making the best of her natural gifts.
One might wish for more.
But is this not the act of a dogged spirit giving more than what is asked? The whole arm bone, as it were.
Giving more than what is asked.
Perhaps her name does not matter then. It's her story that abides.
Her name is Hope, sir. Belongs to all who invoke it.
Damn, kiddo.
I'm not gonna lie, did not expect anus talk to turn into something so profound.
Did you ever know your father, Egg?
He's a prostate philosopher.
Not really.
Most like I saw mine hanged.
Wow.
There was a pot shop in Fleabottom. We used to sell them rats and cats and pigeons for brown. Cook there always said my father was some thief. If he was as big as me, he wouldn't have been a very good one.
Hey.
Have you made a decision?
Respect.
Come on, Egg. This place
Say
is
your
tight,
fortune.
man. Whoa.
You shall know great success and be richer than a Lannister.
Thank you. Do the boy now.
You shall be king and die in hot fire, and worms shall feed upon your ashes.
Whoa.
And all who know you shall rejoice in your dying.
What?
Thank you, that's very good.
Why would she say that?
Why would she say what?
So no good.
Let's move on.
Egg, this is Raymond Fossaway.
Good day.
I said good day, sir.
Will you join me in my tent for a cup of cider?
Apple cider?
I can wait at the puppet show and bring your shield when the performance is over.
We make it ourselves.
There's so many clues in the performance.
Really well done.
Very well.
Yeah, the seeds they're planting. Sorry, apple joke. I didn't mean to, but yes.
Have you chosen an opponent yet?
Who does your cousin mean to challenge?
If anyone's wounded on the morrow, I'm sure Stefan will be quick to knock on his shield. He's about as chivalrous as a starved weasel.
Oh.
I suppose Sir Andrew and I are quite equally matched.
A local favourite. You mean to play the villain? I heard Aryan were in spitting rage at Lord Ashford for giving away his horse.
Little comfort that will be to Sir Humphrey. It looked as if he was going to carry the day.
Now his leg shattered like a baking dish.
My squire thinks Aryan meant to kill the horse.
Come on.
It's just hard to accept that a knight might
Not
be so
supposed to say, but-
dishonourable, let alone a prince.
Why is that hard?
No,
They're incestuous aliens, Duncan.
Pushing it.
Blood magicers and tyrants who've burned our lands.
Blood magicers.
The only honourable thing a Targaryen can do for this realm is finish on his wife's tits.
Jeez.
I think he meant to kill the fucking horse.
Jeez.
It's so good that they're keeping this conversation going about the horse.
We got a bit carried away there.
That's one way to teach abstinence.
I heard that part about the tits from Stefan.
So if anybody asks.
Speaking of Targaryens. Amazing effect.
Oh.
Poor timing on this guy's end.
Oh, boy.
I saw Prince Maker's chair was empty.
They left Ashford this morning to search for the rest of his misbegats. There's rumours going about the boys are dead, but most like Darren, probably just drunk again.
He's probably just worried about his sons.
Seven know why. Darren's a sot. Arian's just vain and cruel. The third's so useless they're going to ship him off to a citadel to make a maester of him. And the youngest.
Arian's hurting her.
Hurting who?
I think this is... Wow. This is where I thought episode 1 was going to end. And then...
I'm glad they waited. Yeah.
Oh my God. Damn.
They're seeing him fight.
Kicked Targaryen Tony Hinchcliffe in the face.
Why did you throw your life away for this whore? She's scarcely worth it. It's a traitor. The Dragon Lord never lose. Nothing more to say. You've loosened one of my teeth. So we'll start by breaking out all of yours.
Whoa. Whoa.
God.
Don't hurt him!
You stupid boy! Hold your tongue or they'll hurt you!
No, they won't. The last to my father. Let go of him. Wait, Yorkle, do as I say.
You impudent little wretch. What's happened to your hair?
Yes.
I cut it off, brother. I didn't want to look like you.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay. So.
Thank God. They're doing so much shit. Dramatic it is.
Do like close-ups on everyone's eyes.
Doug's poor little brain.
Fascinating.
Thank God the reveal was there.
Wowie.
Reject Gang, I have been thinking an awful lot lately about what does health truly mean for me. I don't just mean aesthetically, because last year I made this whole big ordeal about like dropping 50 pounds because I just wanted to try to get those photos for the first time ever in my life. I did it. Then afterwards I was like, well, I kind of want to go back to eating whatever the heck I want, which has led to a lot of ups and downs in my journey. And now I'm at this point where, well, I'm realizing I kind of need sustainable energy, and I am older now. So what is like ways to maintain being healthy without going all crazy about it? And so I've gotten back onto some healthy foods that I love to enjoy, because that's part of the key, and a big part of that has been HUEL, baby. And I'm specifically wanted to shout out this flavor right here because we got a bunch of HUEL products at the office, and the one that the team tends to gravitate towards, I'm talking many of the hosts, is specifically this delicious chocolate peanut butter flavor. Huel didn't ask me to specifically shout this out. I'm just doing it because it is truly an amazing addition. So incorporating something like Huel back into my routine along with something like this every day, the daily greens, has been a massive improvement on my life already at the beginning of this year. Like proper nutrition without crazy dieting is just so crucial, and Huel, I feel like, is a great ingredient for that. So with me here, I keep our variety pack. I often rotate between things like the Huel ready to drink and the Black Edition powder. This one truly is rich, filling, tasty chocolate peanut butter, man. It's just like my favorite. And I'm allergic to dairy. Thankfully, it is plant-based, created by registered nutritionists. It's affordable per serving, and it removes decision fatigue when my stress is already pretty high because I tend to operate like that by default. So if you want something consistent without overthinking it, you can check out Huel using the link and QR code on screen. You can use my code REJECTS for 15% off orders over $50. New customers only, minimum spend required. And yes, is this an ad? Absolutely. However, it is something I decided to go back to before they ever partner back up with us. So thank you, Huel, for being a part of my life in more ways than one. They're doing like so many things that I was like, oh man, it's so hard not to talk about it right now when you know what's happening.
Gonna need John to close his ears for a minute at some point.
I can leave.
Oh my god!
Damn.
I can leave now, and you just let me know when to come back in.
Wow. Right, guys. Well, first off, thanks to everyone who's been joining our Patreon page for this show. It's where you get the full reaction watch along. Thank you so much. Prepper, thank you for editing down these highlights. And of course, thanks to all who have been snagging yourself some RR apparel at rejectnationshop.com.
George R.R. apparel.
George R.R. apparel. I love your jokes. Michael!
Yay.
Yes. Michael brought these swords.
I know, I love them.
I have so many swords.
He's got even more over there than this, believe it or not.
Yeah, these are just my medieval appropriate. This is
This
actually
is a sword storage facility.
It's actually pre-Game of Thrones. This is supposed to be Arya's sword. You actually see the direwolf on it. Obviously, they went with a very different design for needle.
It's fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It was all the clues they were dropping in this episode. I was like, you know, I'm like, would I have picked it up even if I didn't read it? Because like there's so much that happens. I'm like, I don't even remember this is in the book. I remember the horse thing in the book.
Yeah.
Of that being a really like tense moment of, it's kind of interesting to see characters who are so disturbed by the killing of a horse. And I'm glad that they kept that in there. And it's like you were talking about how like stark that felt. And I think it's because the show is not usually the Game of Thrones role. Like the show actually took like a much darker turn this entire episode.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say like that's like I'm sure we've had horse carnage in Game of Thrones before, but there's something about every war movie, and to a degree, like everything that involves battle and armies is a war thing. Like you're oft being shown a new type of violence, and this kind of had that quality for me. I was like, oh, I'm not used to this version of this in this world yet.
Yeah, it's
somehow
outside of like the crude humor and stuff, and some of the language, the violence for the most part has been rather PG-13-ish. And this one, they went much more R-rated for it. And of course, like an animal is just an animal, and they're just using it.
To use that first chunk of the episode to reaffirm the special relationship with a horse, and then to see sort of like knowing like, man, that horse has a story too.
Yeah.
But I think even beyond that, sort of the brilliance of the world stakes feeling so much lower, everything feels so much more personal.
Definitely.
Like, even though his fingers getting broken, like every single little piece of violence feels so much more personal, I think, because the story is so intimate and personal. And honestly, it makes me absolutely terrified for everything else to come.
Well, and they've been really good at up till now making, like you pointed out, like the violence, the action has felt very thrilling because it's in the spirit of the games of the tourney, and this is the turning point where like shit gets real, and they managed that tone really well.
Yeah, because it's been more lighthearted, but you really feel like the way the shadow of this episode, that like the Targaryens felt really striking. Whenever they cut to them in their black outfits, like how, like you said, as I said, medieval, and you said Hades.
Yeah, literally with the flaming head.
Yeah. Oh, the costume design on that, first off, is great.
Gorgeous.
I've seen like concept art of that before, and it's in the comic too. So I was like, damn, this is really like cool to actually see it brought to life right now. And I mean, I'll ask you though, did you ever say that? I don't know if I'll call you in a review. Did you predict it? Did you have a hunch?
I mean, I was sitting there rattling off questions in episode 1, and I think I said, is this kid a secret Targaryen or something like that? Just because, again, anytime I know alopecia exists, but we're in a world where a character being largely hairless is going to raise questions.
And the ultimate confirmation is that he had some black hairs growing somewhere that clearly does not have alopecia.
Yeah.
That should have been it, John.
Well, and it would make sense. It's a cool justification because it's the trope of like, oh, the kid who's wise beyond his years. But now you understand, like, oh, I get how you're in a position to be this wise. And in this episode, actually, this was giving me more reasons to suspect this, especially when they started talking about like, it's the king, or the other guy is gone, and he's looking for his kids.
Two sons,
and there are these 2 sons, but then there's the other one, and the youngest, and they keep cutting him off when they say the youngest, and like this.
But when he said the youngest,
and then Egg walks in, and I was starting to go like,
there.
Are they trying to tell me something? But I wasn't like, it's definitely that, and so it's still satisfying as like a oh shit reveal. And 2, for that to be the mystery, I wouldn't have expected a clarification on it yet personally. So I was still caught by that.
But there were like moments in the performance when his like eyes would turn away, when there was like certain people around. He was like intentionally not making eye contact and stuff.
Take him off his shoulders.
Yeah. And then, some specific scene that I genuinely don't recall as if it's source material or not, but when they encounter Egg, that clairvoyant scene, I was like, oh, this is a lot of information.
That's something I don't want to talk about with John, but I want to really talk about. That was striking.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that in the source material.
No. Well, see, that's the thing is like when I watch House of the Dragon, there were people being like, how do you not know what happens? Didn't you watch Game of Thrones? I'm like, yeah, I don't remember like every freaking thing I learned from Game of Thrones.
I'm sorry I didn't pick up every little bit of Westerosi history in the course of.
I've watched every episode one time.
I mean, they've done a phenomenal job at not even saying what the end of House of the Dragon is so far in this series, and we're living after the fact, immediately after, not immediately, but not too long after the fact.
Not too long after. But this episode was a lot darker because they really like built on the friendship, the kinship that's forming between Duncan and Egg, and then to have that moment at the very end of him, because it's like he's such an ultimate support, Egg, when it comes to Duncan, and at the very end he even saves his life right down the very end, like sacrifices his secrecy.
Well, because he sees that Duncan is truly chivalrous in a way like his whole family just is not.
Yeah,
and that whole conversation Dunk is having with the not Podrick kind of alludes to that.
Not Podrick.
It's kind of a lesson in that. Like, a lot of these people who lord around like they're something great are actually miscreants, and you just, the point shines of like, you are sort of a pure figure here.
Yeah, he's the ideation, he's an iteration rather of what a knight should be, without all of the pomp and circumstance and all of the, even when he points out like, but he's a crabber, and he's like, no, actually, he owns the entire crab fleet of Westeros. Like, that's who Egg has been accustomed to knowing his entire life. And so to see a knight who spends his evenings under the stars, and the little bit that he has, he gives back, I think probably speaks to the tales that Egg probably grew up reading and the adventures. And, I think this is his fulfillment of being able to step into that reality. I also imagine, especially seeing the contrast between his father and his uncle, there is a lot of differing opinions on the relationship between royalty and the small folk.
Yeah.
And I think one of the brilliant things about just this particular book series, but also just I think they've done a wonderful job capturing it during the show, is that a tourney feels like this fun, festive, sporty type thing. People come together. It's a fun community, blah, blah, blah. They fight. This is all about politics and control. Like, the Targaryens wouldn't ever show up to something like this unless they were concerned about the small folk. And in a way, it's, if done correctly, you can wipe a couple potential rivals off the board without actually going to war.
Yeah.
Like, if done the right way, you're able to placate the small folk so that they're not thinking about the fact that they're starving, because for these brief moments they're able to celebrate. And I think that's the brilliance of this, is that we're getting the full microcosm of Westeros and the current political situation. And I was surprised at how on the nose they were about, best thing a Targaryen can do is, swallow.
Well, you pointed out when it happened with the killing of the horse and the people rebelled, and you're like, oh yeah, it was not that long ago when that wouldn't be the case, where the people would riot back, and then you cut to, I'm forgetting the Targaryen's name, the bad Targaryen guy who we don't like.
Targaryen Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah,
Hades Targaryen.
Like even to your point about their concern about the small folk and the reputation and everything about them, like they're just doing their thing that they've been doing this whole time. They've been putting on the show. They're not lying about the narrative.
Yeah.
But it's there to like make a point right now, stepping in and forcing something and punishment for something that shouldn't be punished.
It sort of reminds me of that great Tywin quote, when he's talking to Joffrey, trying to impart some wisdom upon the young bastard king. And he says, any man who says he is king is no true king. And I think the moment when you see if your prestige and power is threatened by a puppet dragon getting defeated by a woman pretending to be a knight in a stage show at a tourney, you're probably no true Targaryen.
Yeah.
You're not really a dragon. And I think that's sort of a fun theme that, Daenerys in the original series plays with her brother in the beginning, where she kind of comes to a similar realization that, like, there is being a Targaryen and then there is pretending to be a Targaryen. And a lot of people think blood alone is enough to sort of embody that. And I thought the use of the word alien is a great way to describe them, because they are a foreign magical entity that plagued themselves upon Westeros. And now that they're missing that iron grip through the actual dragons themselves, this is a period where they have to be really good rulers to justify their continuing, seats on the throne. And obviously we know that at some point that stops.
Yeah.
So
Can I take a quickie detour?
do it. Where are we going?
I've been really endeared to both Dunk and Egg this whole time, but this episode is where their chemistry really felt like it had clicked in and was alive and was like reaching the heights of something very special. Just the way they play.
It was when they're doing their little voices, right?
Yes.
I feel like that for me was such a Dunk is allowing himself to be so deeply unserious.
Yeah.
And there was that beautiful moment too where, when he's teaching him how to sew and fill in the patches, where he was going to make him do all the ritual punishments and all the things that he would have had to do when he was a squire. And I think that was the first time Dunk took this sort of step into not just trying to be in his master's shadow, but creating his own identity and realizing that, like, maybe because I was treated this way doesn't mean I have to treat him this way.
I can be better than my father figure,
Well, I think because the relationship this time had a lot of variety in their interactions. Sometimes it was tender and sweet and caring, and I think the real click of the moment is when because they bicker a lot, but then man, my memory today, he taught him something of what to do that he's like, you don't even know how to do this. And then Duncan teaches him how to do it. And then when Egg figures it out, he's like so proud of him and happy for him.
Yeah.
And then they go back to like a little bit of bickering, and then they go back to having like a tender conversation. Yeah. So you see like that's a relationship. So they have a relationship that forms.
No, I would love to watch Greg's relationship advice series.
This is how you talk to children.
There were moments in here where I felt like I was watching like What If Game of Thrones, but Richard Linklater, and I was like, "That's a sick vibe."
Yeah,
I do love that. I felt George R.R. Martin's presence, particularly in this episode, as we spent a solid 4.5 minutes looking at them making bacon and eggs. Like that to me is the most genuine to A Song of Ice and Fire. 30 pages on what a piece of mutton tastes like.
Yeah.
And, they really captured that spirit.
Well, Egg is such a compelling character in this fashion. Like, especially when they're breaking down that tail, that anus tail, but finding the hope out of that. And that in a lot of ways, though, that is the character, though, because he comes from royalty. He he's probably surrounded by stories of, being a good person and all that shit of what it's like. But then he's surrounded by
reality,
things that are so opposite towards what the public probably really wants or gravitates towards. So then he blends in with the small folk and he actually connects more with these people and he's finding these things. So of course he's going to find this kinship with Duncan the whole time because he knows the opposite better than anybody else in a lot of ways.
Totally. Well, and two, I love that we got moments alone with him because watching Egg at the top of the episode, just being out and around, having fun, but also learning with the horse and all that stuff was great. Was so well acted, but also a really lovely thing to bother to depict in a place like this.
Yeah. The boyish imagination and being able to see that, but also just this kid is
really
so freaking good.
He's great.
I think especially it's one thing when you're playing against an amazing actor, and he has no shortage of those in the series. But those moments alone, I think, really demonstrated no, this kid's got some serious talent.
Well, and it's to your point about the range of moments that I think was part of the key for me this episode. Because I've seen characters who are oh yeah, a kid wise beyond their years, who's perhaps smarter than their adult companion of some sort. But yeah, this added a spectrum of other emotions on top of that.
Yeah.
That then humanized that element beyond the trope that much more for me.
Yeah. Well, you see him as a boy and just being a real boy. And
I'm a
like
real boy.
Pinocchio, I knew. The second I said it, I'm like,
I'm so sorry.
That's the twist.
Yeah.
Now
Geppetto Targaryen carved him of the sacred tree.
Geppetto, first of his name. Stringer of puppets.
Those things come out of my mouth, and as they're leaving, I'm like, Michael's about to come.
I'm so sorry. I was waiting for that my entire life.
Damn it, I stepped in it now.
Yeah.
Hey, most wonderful thing about this episode, Maester Aemon, shout out. That made me so happy that we even heard of his existence in this episode. John, have you connected that dot yet?
Maester Aemon. I know this name.
From The Wall?
Yeah.
Old man?
Mm-hmm.
Other Targaryen?
Yes.
Was friends with Jon Snow?
Yeah.
Yeah, blind?
Mm-hmm.
Old?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was mentioned in this episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Egg...
Who played him?
An old man who
I can
think
see
is
his
no longer
face
with
in my
us.
mind's eye. Yeah.
Yeah, what the heck was his name?
He was kindly, right?
So kindly.
He was a kindly old,
He was so kindly.
frail man.
And he actually mentions Egg in the original series.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey. 2 shout-outs and the Joffrey one. Let's go.
Well, before the Pinocchio joke.
Yes, shit. Back on track. Back on track.
I take zero responsibility for this side quest.
What I was trying to say was that moment of showing his... I actually forgot my whole point now. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm so
I was like, wait
He's
a
a
minute.
real boy. You get to see him be a real boy.
I'm just thinking of Pinocchio.
We were talking about the
This
prologue
happens.
of the episode.
This
gave-
happens. I don't even blame Michael. Now it's my fault. What happened? Real children are real.
It was about Egg in the beginning of the episode.
Getting
about
to be a
boy.
real child?
No, I appreciate your guys' help
Getting
in
to
this time of crisis.
This time of great suffering and anguish.
outside of the Red Keep.
If you remember what Greg was going to say,
Yeah, leave a
donate
comment down
today.
below.
Call our pledge drive.
I don't know. I feel like I was like, I'm about to ramble because I'm going to try to find my thought that I had, and now I'm like, nope, I lost the
Well,
thought.
if he's a real, Egg is finding himself as a real boy. We're seeing that he's not just an actor in this
Find something
film,
from it.
but
Richard
we're seeing
Linklater's
that
Boyhood.
he is in this scene where he is by himself. We are witnessing all the magic and whimsy that comes with adolescence.
There was something more about
I'm a real boy.
innocence and corruption was the words that were in my head that I'm
Sort
not
of a juxtaposition of being surrounded by all of this sort of
maybe corruption of Targaryen soul, but he is born with an innocence in him, and he so watching the horse die is not something that would bother his family, but it bothers him.
And maybe it
I don't
bothers
know.
him because he's aware it wouldn't bother his family because he's grown up with that.
Well, it didn't even say my father says that you shouldn't talk to horses because they're dumb.
Yeah.
And then here he is talking to a horse and literally getting these amazing emotional responses is out of it. Like,
I feel like that was somewhere there, but we've landed on a good point. We've evolved.
All right, we've done it. It's even better now.
It's even
thanks
better
to
than
the
whatever
joke.
it was before.
Yeah.
power of friendship.
That's how it works.
The real Pinocchio joke was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, I relate Geppetto first of his name.
Yes.
You should get the Aragorn Isildur sword.
I have it.
You have that one?
Do you have Sting?
The one where Boromir cuts his finger
Do
off?
I have Sting? What am I supposed to do? Yeah.
Bring
Oh,
on
you're
the
talking about the
sword.
reforged sword.
Yeah, the one that's like broken and then
Yeah.
like Boromir picks it up and he's like, steel sharp.
Yeah, that cut the finger off of
Yeah.
Sauron. Sauron.
Saruman is the white guy, and Sauron is the other white guy who becomes a big thing.
Thank you. I was going to say. I'm pretty sure Sauron is also a white guy. It was just a while ago.
Sauron's a hot white guy, as we all know.
All
Greg,
right,
would
John,
would
leave
it
the
be?
room
Yeah,
for
I
a
was
second.
going to
All
say.
right, I'll be our.
Sorry,
I do this
John.
for every Fallout
I'm gonna
episode.
Go, I'm gonna go polish.
Welcome to the world of
Thanks,
filming with
guys.
Michael.
Yeah, there's things we got to say. All right, lore
I mean, I don't
holders.
really have much to say, but I know what it's about. So I'm like, I can listen. I'll be here with you in this three-person environment.
All right. Hello, everybody. For those that don't know, at the end of episodes where somebody that doesn't know the source material is about to be spoiled, we hold in all of those emotions and feelings and wait until afterwards so that we can talk about the crazy things that have happened. And in this episode, we had this witch, hag, fortune teller, whatever you want to call her. That was probably two very rude words to call
I mean,
this
she's
fortune
probably like a
teller.
real clairvoyant. She seemed to hit the nail on the head, man.
Yeah, nail on the head. So obviously Dunk is going to be, wealthier than a Lannister, which, that might be a little bit of a stretch. Like, he does pretty well for himself, right? But the crazy thing is what she said to Egg, which
that's the big one.
That's Summer Hall, which is one of like the most devastating moments, I think, in the history of Westeros. Also one of the most mysterious.
Yeah.
So just to refresh, go ahead.
And that part, as I was like actually starting to regain my thought process, I was like, oh, the tragedy and the innocence. And I'm like, oh, but I can't say that right now.
No, that was the hardest thing is it makes all of this so frickin' brutal to know that, like, oh, yeah, one day he's going to be king and he is not going to die a very pleasant death. And there's still so many question marks around, like, who started the fire? What started the fire? And it's also just a crazy moment in Game of Thrones history. It's the day Rhaegar is born and Jon Snow's existence even becomes a potential. Like,
who's the person who's like the three-eyed raven again?
The three-eyed raven?
Yeah, aren't they in this?
Bran
story?
Stark? Well, the OG three-eyed raven.
I thought they're like mentioned in this. Am I wrong about that? Or like one of the characters is in it? I forget. It's been a while. I haven't reread or rewatched any of Game of Thrones or anything.
Well, you're talking about the
or
original,
even the
not the original three-eyed raven,
thought,
but
like,
the three-eyed raven that Bran interfaces with. I think we see his human form in this.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
what we're getting at.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But anyway,
do you think they're gonna do you guys think that we're gonna see Summer Hall? Like, is that how the series ends?
I don't think they would do that. I mean, knowing the way how they've been handling these shows, they'll probably just get a spinoff. Or eventually,
but there's nothing else going on really at that time.
I was just surprised they threw this in here because it made the intimate story of Night of the Seven Kingdoms suddenly feel a lot bigger to the universe.
Well, I think that's sort of the beauty and
because they don't like mention
the
this shit
wonder
in Night of the Seven in Hedge Knight.
Yeah, I don't remember this being in Hedge Knight.
Yeah.
But I think there is a I think that's the brilliance of this series is that this sets into motion everything.
Yeah.
And it is that connective tissue. I really kind of hope that's I know it's like a really dark place to end the series, but I would love to know, like, was Dunk responsible for saving the last Targaryen?
I thought they were just adapting the 3 books.
Yeah, but, this is doing pretty well, and money is tight there at HBO.
Yeah, they always plan spinoffs and shit, don't they?
Yeah, as long as Ryan Condal's not doing it, George R.R. Martin's happy.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think?
Should we shout John back in?
Why?
So that way he can at least say bye. I do that for Fallout.
John!
You can come back in, John.
John, come back. We missed you. Let me at him.
We just brought you in here to say bye. You can say bye. Say the YouTube things. You know, like, what do you guys think?
Guys,
Like,
hey,
subscribe.
listen, what did you think of
Click
the
bells.
show? How many eggs are you going to eat after we're done here? Leave a like, subscribe, notification bell, watch alongs on Patreon. We'll see you next week. Love you. Mwah.